5 through 6 of Attack on Titan X Mute Reader / Listener. Now let's get into the video. Sorry, I got really lazy. Later that evening, we were served dinner in the mess hall. I nibbled slightly on my bread as others around me were in conversations. As I approached my table of friends, I realized Aaron has a bunch of people surrounding him. He was telling the events that happened at Walmaria. Hearing that brings back so many unwanted memories. I casually sat down, listened to Aaron rant about killing Titans. Mikasa noticed me and leaned closer as I stared at Aaron in pure confusion. Ever since our mom was killed back in Walmaria, he found himself to kill all the Titans. Mikasa explained. My eyes slightly grew wide, while confusion was written all over my face. I don't know why either. He's getting a little over himself. For the rest of the night, I watched Aaron get in another argument with this boy. Something about Aaron being a crazy suicidal maniac. As I watched the boys glare at each other, I felt someone tap my shoulder. I turned to see a girl with black hair tied in two pigtails. Hi, I'm Mina. What's your name? I suddenly began to get nervous. Her name is Wyan. Sorry, she can't really talk. She's not trying to be rude. Armin quickly butted in. I thanked him silently. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. She decided to change the subject. I like your pigtails. It's cute. I nodded as a thanks. Did your mom braid it, or did you braid it yourself? I pointed to myself. Really? That's awesome. She stared at me for a while. Do you have an eye patch? What happened to your eye? You have an eye patch? What happened to your eye? How was I supposed to answer that? Does she think I'm weird for wearing an eye patch? Just then, I felt a hand on my shoulder. Uh, uh, Ryan, we should probably go. Before I could do anything, he grabbed my arm and pulled me out of the mess hall. Are you okay, Ryan? Was she bothering you? Armin asked. I shook my head and looked down. Why must I be so different? I gripped Armin's hand a little tighter, making Armin flinch. Why can't I be normal? Time skip. We were now training combat. We were now practicing combat training, and I had no one to battle with. I looked around nervously. Everyone had a partner. Now I really stood out. Hey, want to spar? I looked around to see a male, with brown hair staring down at me. My body flinched. That smell, it was there again. This time it was on him. I felt my blood boil again, making me feel a little hostile. You seem alone. I thought you might want a partner. I nodded. The boy seemed confused on why I wasn't saying anything. Then he seemed to remember my face. Ah, you must be the girl they were talking about. I'm Berthold. You must be YN, right? My eyes slightly widened on how he knew that. Could it be that Aaron and Armin talked about me? I don't know this boy. I don't like this boy. He got into position and I got into mine. Without warning, he charges right at me. Like my body was on a mind of its own, I quickly dodged his attack and grabbed a hold of his arm. I slammed him to the ground harshly and held a knife to his throat. The dust swarmed around us and then quickly disappeared. I stared angrily at my opponent. Berthold stared back at me with eyes widened. He looked shocked. What was that? My eyes were burning, like they were on fire. What? I quickly blinked a few times and the burning faded. Berthold opened his mouth to say something, but a voice behind him prevented him from doing so. Ryan, that was awesome! I looked behind to see Aaron running towards me, along with this other male. I quickly got off Berthold and waited for them to come. Damn, you managed to crack the ground below him, the blonde-haired male. That was amazing. How'd you do that? I shrugged. Can you try sparring with me next? How about me next? The blonde-haired male said. To cut the story short, those two boys ended up on the ground with cracks underneath them, each of them groaning in pain. Can't get up, Berthold said. Damn one, it's like you're mad at me. The blonde-haired male sat up, chuckling. Not that bad. Not bad. What's your name? Her name's Ryan, Aaron managed to say. Ryan, that's a nice name. The name's Ryder. Hopefully we can fight each other once more in the future. My blood boiled as he gave me that look. He has the same scent. I'm fine with Aaron, but Berthold and Reiner are just uh, pulling me off the edge. If you want a better challenge, try fighting Annie over there. I've noticed the blonde-haired girl with the big nose walking around. She had this. She too had the scent I couldn't stand. I don't know, but why? I don't know why, but there's something about these three that put me off. Like their whole personalities, total fake. Chapter 6. Later that evening, dinner time came, and I watched the rest of the cadets talk amongst themselves. I envied their conversations and laughter. I wish I could be like that again. But the only sounds I could make were small and faint noises. I wasn't completely mute, but there were faint hums and sounds I could make. But when I tried to talk, nothing came out. Ryan, are you okay? You barely touched your food, Mikasa asked. I turned to her and nodded. I guess I was just too lost in my thoughts. I picked up the bread from my tray and slowly nibbled it. Hey, you're Ryan, right? I looked next to me to see a girl with brown eyes tied in a ponytail and brown hair tied in a ponytail with brown eyes. I nodded, feeling a little confused on how she knew my name. We saw the way you fought at the training grounds. That was amazing. We? I looked to see a boy with a shaved head and yellowish eyes. Yeah, you were totally awesome. Where'd you learn those moves? They both leaned in close to hear, but I began to panic. How could I answer? Do they not? Do they know I can't? Hey, give her some space, guys. I heard a sweet voice say. The three of us looked behind to see a boy with black hair, tan skin, and cute freckles. Wait, cute? I found myself begin to blush a little. You're making her uncomfortable. He looked towards me. Are you okay? I'm sure they didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. His eyes looked at mine, expecting an answer. My eyes darted around the room, which found Armin's eyes staring worryingly at me. I pleaded for help through my eyes, and Armin immediately got the message. Sorry, Wine is sort of mute. She's not trying to be rude, Armin immediately spoke. I found the atmosphere turned tense once they reacted to the news. Oh, we're sorry, we didn't know, the girl with brown hair quickly apologized. Yeah, what she said, the shaved head boy replied. We hope we didn't hurt your feelings in any way. The boy with cute freckles stared at me with deep concern. My name's Sasha, and said the girl holding bread. The name's Connie, the boy with the shaved head added. My name is Marco. I'm guessing your name is YN, right? I nodded slowly, standing up and making my way towards him. I placed my hands on his cheeks. Warm, I thought. Marco's cheeks seemed to heat up more I as he began to get flustered. Armin began to stammer at me. Ryan, don't do that. That's rude. Armin scowled. It's fine. Marco tried to be calm. I stared at Marco for a few moments before removing my hands. I turned to Sasha and Connie and noticed a few breadcrumbs on Sasha's cheeks. I leaned closer and brushed the crumbs slightly away from her face. She flinched, but it wasn't from my touch. Ryan, your nails are so sharp. It scratched me a little. I took a look at my claw-like fingernails. They have grown a bit over the years, but I didn't know how to cut them. Ryan, here, giving you dinner. Armin guided me back to my seat. I began to nibble on the bread. Vixen noticed me eating and began to pet my head. She always did this, ever since we were young. Has she always been like this? I heard Marco ask behind me. As long as I can remember, yes. That's that was how she met me, actually. Ever since that day, Aaron, Mikasa, and I have been friends with her. The more time we spent with her, the more I grow concerned over her behavior. Behavior? Sasha asked. She doesn't really act like her age, more like a toddler discovering the world for the first time. It makes me worried that she might have been involved in an accident that affected her head, and possibly her eye too. he muttered the last part. With the bread still in my mouth, I leaned into Mikasa's strokes and planted my head on her shoulder. She didn't seem surprised because I always did this, but this time was different. As she began to stroke my head, I began to tickle at her sides, making her squirm. "Ryan, stop!" she said quietly, but I continued. I never see I've never seen Mikasa laugh before. Back when we were young, I would do this to Aaron and Armin to make them laugh, but Mikasa never laughed at me. I continued to pick at her sides, and she began to push me away. I could see her crack and smile a little bit. "Ryan, stop! It's not funny!" But I continued. At this point, she started pushing me as gently and as far away as possible, as she was on the verge of laughing, but it seemed like her little battle gained some attention and took the scene of something other than a playful fight. Without knowing, I felt someone grab my hair and yank me off of Mikasa, causing me to fall to the ground harshly, almost catching Mikasa off guard. "She told you to stop! What are you trying to do, harass her? Keep your hands off!" I rubbed my head and looked up to see a boy with two-toned hair glaring down at me. "What's his problem?" "Why in?" Mikasa called my name and immediately went to my side. Armin didn't move, but he stared at me with complete worry. He didn't know if he should get involved or not, but the boy wasn't done yet. He ended up grabbing me by the collar, yanking me once more. "I told you to get away from her!" "What the hell?" Aaron grabbed the boy by the collar and yanked him off of me, making uh making him fall to the ground onto the floor. Mikasa holding my arms steady. "Leave her alone. She didn't do anything wrong. I didn't know if you were cranky because you haven't had your hair yet, Horseface. But you don't dare touch Ryan again, like that, Horseface. She was harassing your friend. What was I supposed to do? If anyone is harassing, it's you. Keep your hands off her." Aaron pushed her back. "Ryan, are you okay?" Armin asked from behind. I stared blankly at the boy. Aaron called him Horseface. "Does that mean he looks like a horse?" I slowly stood up and made my way towards the two. They both stopped talking and watched my movements in confusion. I walked to the boy and placed my hands on his cheeks, analyzing his face. I saw his cheeks turn bright red as I looked at his features. He didn't really look like a horse. "Ryan!" Aaron said in disbelief. I looked towards Aaron and I was about to walk towards him when I felt someone grab my hand. I looked behind me to see the boy looking down. His face blushed madly. I was now confused. Aaron didn't seem to like that and pulled me away. "I thought I told you not to touch her. Get your hands off me, you suicidal maniac." Mikasa pulled aside as she pulled me gently away from the scene and led me out of the mess hall.